Happy New Year! Oh gosh, I can't believe we're in the new year. And yes, I'm doing this now, and I was going to do this last week, but um, it was a little busy last week, but that's why I'm doing this now. So, this is the first video I'm doing of 2024, and honestly, I still can't believe that we're in the new year because it's already uh, the 10th. So I'm just, so surprised. And believe me, I'm happy. I'm happy that we are in the new year because I do feel a change. I do. I do feel this year's is probably going to be better. And things are just gonna change for the better, for everyone and everything else. And so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm also looking forward for the changes in my life as well. So yeah, I know it might seem late to say Happy New Year, but I don't think so, only because we're just starting. You know, we're just barely starting of the new year. So Happy New Year. So because now we're in the new year, I'm going to share with you the movies that I've watched of last year. But not only the movies that came out last year, but also just movies that I've seen on streaming platforms, even though they didn't came out last year, but even if they came out no matter what year, I'm gonna mention the movies that I've seen, even if it came out long ago. So I would say for any movies that came out from, let's say, the 30s all the way up until the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, then I'll be mentioning those ones that I've watched for the first time. But I think maybe before I start, uh, I'm not. I mean, I know there's movies I'm looking forward to watch this year, although I don't know what those ones might be. I don't know. I think there are probably some that I probably do look forward to seeing this year. I just don't know what they might be yet. So, yeah. Now, of course, I have seen, I would say, I'm not sure how many, but on Letterboxd it shows how many I've watched that came out last year. I would mention all of them, but here I mention only the top 5. But if you want to see the ones that I've watched of last year, go to my Letterboxd account, and you'll see it on there. So here are the top 5 movies that I've watched last year that came out in 2023. Barbie. Yeah, I thought that was actually good because I didn't know how it was gonna be. Um, I wasn't so sure, but then, even while watching it, it turned out to be, really good. And it turned out not the way that I thought it would. So it turned out good though, but I liked it. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Yeah, I like that one too. It was a bit more emotional than I would say part 2, but it was still really good. I liked it. Evil Dead Rise. Um, I'm not sure what to say about this one. I mean, I can see why those who have seen it really liked it and really enjoyed it. Even though I can see why, because for those who are Evil Dead fans, I mean, I kind of see that, but Yeah, I mean, I've seen the original myself, but honestly, even through the first time watching it, I pretty much felt just very uneasy. So, yeah, somehow I just felt very unsettled. But with this one, yeah, this one really scared me, and there was just some parts I did not expect. One part I would say really made me feel like, ugh. And the part is where I forgot how this happened, but there was a part where it had to do with somebody's eyeball, and I think somehow the eyeball got into her mouth. You know, the one who was being possessed. Like even though she was dead, she was being, possessed. So I think somehow, like I said, I forgot how this happened, but something happened where somebody's eyeball, and she had it in her mouth for some reason. I'm not sure how that happened. But then she spits it out, and as she spits the eyeball out of her mouth, there is someone else on the other side, and I'm trying to think, this character, I think his mouth was open, and all of a sudden it went to his mouth, you know, inside. So seeing that, it made me felt like I had this lump in my throat. It almost felt like I kind of felt what he felt, and all of a sudden I'm like, I was like that, and all of a sudden I really started to feel like this big lump in my throat because it just, that didn't sit right with me. And even from there, even towards the ending, I couldn't get rid of feeling that in my throat. So I was just like, like, okay, that was disgusting. So anything like that, I don't like. But yeah, I just thought it was graphic, gory. I mean, do I like it? Honestly, no. I mean, for those who either like it or love it, that's fine. That's fine if you do, but I personally don't. But I only watched it because I was just curious on how this one was and see how different it was from the original. And of course, this one's not a remake, but I think it's just telling a new story, you know, of it in a way. Yeah, I did not like that. There was another part I did not like, but I'm glad it didn't really happen though, only because I thought if it did, and if it had went too far on that, I would have been so upset. I'm not sure if I should mention it on here or if I should mention it like in the description or in the comments, but yeah. And then I also watched The Nun 2, and this one terrified me. It really did, because when it comes to the nun itself, the demonic nun, Valak, I can't stand looking at it. And I say it because even though it takes form of a nun which looks like a she, but to me, I just think of it as a it, because it's this really dark, you know, entity that takes form of something that it's not, because it's not human. So yeah, so I mean, I didn't know where it was gonna go, but seeing where it was going, yeah, during the whole time I was just like on edge and just feeling just scared. And yeah, there were just some parts that really made me jump, and I think there was a certain scene that made me scream. I forgot which part that was, but there is a part in there that just made me scream. And Scream 6. So this one I love, and I know for those who have seen it, either don't like it, completely hate it, or just think, it's okay. And for those who probably do like it or love it, but personally, I would say I love Scream 6 only because I wasn't expecting of where it was gonna go, and I really loved how it turned out because to me, even though it seemed somewhat similar to Scream 2, to me it didn't really seem like it was copying everything. Because if it did, then yeah, I would have seen like every single thing that we pretty much would see in Scream 2. Like for example, like with Randy being killed in a van, we don't see that. And there's just some other things we don't see. I would say there's pretty much just other things we don't see. That was my water bottle. What are you doing? Okay, so there's just some other things that we don't that even though we see in Scream 2 that we don't see in Scream 6. Like yeah, there might be some things that might be a bit similar, but it's not like it's pretty much copying everything, you know? So I just don't see it that way. Yeah, I loved it, and honestly, I didn't expect the killers though, because I did thought maybe the killers would be someone that we probably would know. But of course, even though the killers turned out to be other characters, even though I kind of had a feeling, okay, it might be them, might be not, but then when it turned out to be them, like, okay, I didn't expect that. So yeah, those are the ones that I've watched that came out last year. Barbie, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Evil Dead Rise, The Nun 2, and Scream 6. And here are the movies that I've watched for the first time last year that did not came out last year. That came out either the 30s to 2010s. And here are the ones that I did watch. Knives Out came out 2019, so I really liked that. You know, I did enjoy it because I love mystery movies like that, like whodunit movies, and I know Scream is one of them. But I also like to watch other movies of whodunit movies, you know, those mystery murder crime movies. I do enjoy those because I feel like not only is it fun to watch and entertaining, but I feel like it's just great to watch, and you're just seeing this story being unfold, and you're getting to know the characters. And even though there's some characters you either may like or don't like, but yet there just might be some of those characters that you like that might not be who you think they are, and you can't trust them because they turn out to be the killer who probably killed someone early on in a movie, or maybe have killed someone else somewhat later. And I know Clue's one of them, and I love Clue, so I really did enjoy Knives Out. So, and I know there's part 2, so I'm looking forward to part 2. Yeah, with Knives Out, I didn't expect where it was going because, and I know I kind of keep saying that, but that's because it's true, because when you watch a movie, you're not gonna expect what you think you're gonna be expecting, because there's gonna be things that are gonna happen along the way, and when it does, you're not gonna expect certain things to happen and for it to happen in that particular way. So, you know, it just always leaves you feeling like, okay, I was not expecting that. You know, it either could be a good thing or a bad thing depending what goes on. But yeah, because I really thought that it was. I mean, I'm not gonna say, but for those who want to see it, please check it out. Um, and I'm gonna try to make this real quick here as much as I can. Also, another movie I saw the first time is Backdraft. Came out in 1991. Um, that one is a good movie, and I remember when I did first watched it. Yeah, it was sometime last year, and as I'm watching it, like, of course there was something that was going on, and so I'm thinking, okay, there's something that's going on here. Um, Someone's up to no good here, and then I had a feeling of a character of who it was, which did turn out to be that character, but also there is someone else um, that was doing this as well. Um, I'm not sure if I should really say, only because for those who haven't seen it but would like to see it, I do recommend it. It is a good movie. Um, yeah, so I like that. And Fire in the Sky. Oh boy, that was scary. This one was scary because I remember I've only heard of it, and as far as I know, is that it um, is based on what happened to someone of a. I'm not sure if I should say it, but of an alien abduction, and so seeing this, it was just scary because it shows where he's taken, and where I think he was gone for days. I'm trying to think, he was gone either for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, around there. I forgot how many days he was missing, but at some point he came back. But what's scary is that there's a flashback scene where he's remembering what the aliens did to him, and seeing that himself was very unsettling. It was scary to watch, and the whole time I just felt like just nervous. It's one of those scenes where it's like it makes you feel very anxious. Like you feel like you're just like on the edge of your seat, but at the same time you feel like, oh, you can't watch, like you can't look at what they're doing to him because it's so horrible. And I don't think I can describe what they were doing because it wasn't something I thought that I would see, but I just felt so bad, just seeing that. I'm like, oh my gosh, how horrible that was. But at the same time, it was a good movie. It was, but that itself was just scary to watch. It was very nerve-wracking. Like, it just kind of gives you anxiety while watching it. That part itself, like, whew. And okay, before I get to this one, I want to mention these other two. Primal Fear, that came out in 1996. Oh yeah, and Fire in the Sky, that came out in 1993. Both Primal Fear, that one was good too. I actually did like that, but there's a twist. I'm not gonna say it, I'm not gonna ruin it, but let's just say something happened, and this character, I forgot who, but someone, an actor who had played this character kept saying he's not guilty, he didn't do this, he didn't kill this character, he had nothing to do with it. So this whole time, like throughout the whole movie, you're thinking, okay, so yeah, maybe he is innocent, maybe he didn't do it. But then of course there are going to be times where you're going to think, okay, is he really innocent, is he not, is he just putting on this act? So at the same time you're just you don't know what to think. You don't know whether this character is either is innocent or whether he's not. But I'm not gonna spoil that because um, there is a twist at the end, and with that twist really surprised me because I didn't know it was gonna go there, and when it did, I'm like, I pretty much was speechless. So I'm just like, oh wow, okay, and yeah. And then another movie I did watch that also has a twist, and that's Jacob's Ladder. That one was a good one. That was, I would say, very interesting, but also a bit intense as well. And like, yeah, I think there's just some parts that were, like I said, intense, and like at the same time, it's a little confusing as well because he's confused to what's going on, and he's trying to figure something out. But then, when it gets to the end, something happens. I'm not gonna say what it was, and I'm not gonna say what happens because there's a twist at the end. So something happens where somehow something starts to come back to him, and then he starts to realize something. So upon his realization of something important that I'm not gonna say, but until he realizes it, that's when I think he accepts of what's going on, and I think accepts of something that happened. And so, like I said, I'm not gonna say anymore because I know what it is, and but like I said, with this twist, I did not saw it coming because there were two things I thought of. I thought maybe it's gonna go this way, or I thought maybe it's gonna go that way because I was thinking there could be two different possibilities of what could be happening, and that he might found out, okay, this is what's happening. And so I thought there could have been two possibilities of what's going on here, but it turns out I was wrong. Neither of those things happened, and that twist just happened, and I remember I was shocked, but at the same time sad, and you'll see why. But that was a good movie, but I do recommend that too. Oh yeah, and that one, Jacob's Ladder, came out in 1990. And the other one I did watch for the first time last year, and that's Breakdown. And when I did first watch it, it was, I would say, back in April of last year. And I think around that time it was on Amazon Prime. Yeah. And so I remember when I first watched this, I've actually heard it somewhere because someone mentioned it on Twitter. So when someone did mention on Twitter, I thought, okay. I never heard of this movie before, but I'll definitely look into it. And so when I looked it up and watched it, and so when I was watching it, of course, it seemed like things were going, fine at first, but then things start to get a little bit more tense, like it escalates just a little bit more, and yeah, there's just something that goes on where you're just left wondering, like, wait, okay, what is going on here? And even though you get the idea of what is going on, at the same time you don't get any answers from it. But I would say there was at some point where it escalates a little bit more because it gets more intense, and so And the character who's behind all this, who's up to no good, is very intimidating. Very. And so the performances were great, and this was just a very good, intense thriller movie. So at some point, getting towards the end, where it's getting more intense, because you can feel it. And I just remember the whole time, I'm just like on the edge of my seat. And I'm just like, my mind is going everywhere. And I'm just thinking, okay, where's this going? Oh my gosh. And so at some point, things are just going here, there. And I'm just like, oh, and the whole time I'm just feeling anxious too. And yeah, and I'm feeling really tense, But I didn't expect this either, but the way it ended, I did not expect, because let's just say with the bad guy in the movie, let's just say he gets killed off in a way where it was brutal. Okay, but you gotta see it for yourself, because I'm not gonna say anymore. But all I gotta say is that upon seeing that, like I said, the way it ended and how this character got killed, like I said, it was brutal. And yeah, I was just like, oh my gosh. But let's just say, okay, it's kind of like this, for example, you know how there are just some movies where you see a certain scene, and then with your reaction, like depending what is happening, and depending if something happens in a certain way, and all of a sudden your reaction is like, oh, you know what I mean? Okay, that was my reaction at the end. So it's like, yeah. But other than that, I mean, like I said, I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, that's why I'm not saying a whole lot. But for those who want to see these movies, I do recommend them. Seeing them. But yeah, so those are the movies I watched. Like, I did listed the movies that I watched that came out last year, and ones that didn't come out last year but came out in a year that it did came out. And with Breakdown came out in 1997. So yeah, that is a good movie, and I do recommend that. And I'm sorry if this video seems to be going a little bit long, so sorry about that. But anyway, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. And I would probably list some other movies that I've seen the first time last year, but there would be a lot to mention. A lot. So I feel like with me mentioning 5 or a little bit more, like, that's okay. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this, and for more movie content, subscribe and click on the bell, and you'll be notified when I upload. Oh, and before I go, yes, I just started my podcast, and I did upload my first video on Sunday, which was the 7th. But I'm actually, what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be planning to upload, like, to do my videos on my podcast and to upload them every Saturday. And I just want to say, for those who probably want to join me, who would want to be a guest, let me know, and we can definitely discuss on that and schedule a day of when that would be good to do that, and to talk about movies, dreams, and the paranormal. So yeah, that would be great. So yeah, this is going a little long, so I hope you don't mind. But anyway, for more movie content, subscribe and you'll click on the bell so you'll be notified when I upload. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed this video. That's all for today, and I'll see you at the movies.